Beginning tomorrow, we have a quadruple X flare impact upon Earth. We reached high solar levels with an enormous wave of light. This X 1.8 and X 1.4 erupted from the sun. 4 total X flares that will hit Earth starting tomorrow. These effects will be lasting the whole weekend. This geostorm may even surpass the severe G4 geostorm that we had from May. This is your warning. I repeat, this is your warning for the next coming of days. Region 3848 produced a Type 2 and a Type 4 radio sweep, producing a full halo CME with large quantities of proton levels. This is going to send us into S2 to S3 strong solar radiation levels that will last for the next coming of days. Upon the burst of the X 1.8 solar flare, we reached into S1 to S2 solar radiation levels. When we got our next X-class flare, that X 1.4, it sent us straight into some S3 strong solar radiation levels. As you can see, the absorption just keeps growing. This will last in our atmosphere for the next coming of days. You will not feel physically well. Protons do hold mass in this atmosphere, so make sure you are hydrating with these high solar radiation levels. This is where we currently are. As you can see, we are steady S2, S3 solar radiation levels. It is seeming to die down a little. However, it may climb just in a little bit as that X 1.3 with the larger proton flare probability. We'll see if we have an impact from that, and it will grow in our chart. All 4 X-class flares will have an effect on Earth. Region 3842 is the culprit of many of these. A lot of energies that are mixing together, especially with region 3848 that produced that X 1.8 solar flare, sent us into a Type 2 and a Type 4 radio sweep with a 10 centimeter Castelli signature. These X-class flares are so powerful that our imagery is not able to function with the high frequential energy that is coming in. The velocity, the density of the proton levels is just too much for the system, so we are either getting blackouts or we are getting imagery such as this. This is Earth directed and will have a strong impact on our planet. Solar wind parameters are expected to start increasing tomorrow as the shock arrives from the first of these CMEs. We can expect high level conditions mid to late on the 11th through the 12th, the 13th, and possibly into the 14th with severe levels. This may be possible in posing a risk for high gamma radiation. Navigation position errors are likely in this event. Blackouts of high-frequency radio communication through the polar regions. This is going to increase navigation errors over several days, and a high-flying aircraft at high latitudes may be exposed to this radiation risk. So be mindful if you have flights between now and this weekend. Be mindful when you are driving to have a paper map with you instead of relying on your phone and communications through that area. Low latitude auroras in the southern states will be likely. Communication issues, power grid failures and damage, GPS and navigation issues, along with physical symptoms. This was the latest X-class flare, that X 1.43. As you can see, half of the imagery is cut off due to the high light rate that was emitted from this region. Most likely 3842 as it heads off of the western limb of the sun. We do not know yet if we have a coronal mass ejection that is associated with it. However, there was a high proton level burst and we did get the effects of that, which we are seeing now. This is a current photo of our sun today. Now we have 6 sunspot regions on our sun. The middle one, as you can see, is 3848 Earth facing right now. That produced that X 1.8 solar flare that is going to have a direct impact upon Earth starting tomorrow. Here's a closer look at that region. As you can see, it is very large in size. It is highly magnetically complex. Starting in beta, gamma, and delta range, the number of sunspots is about the same. However, the proton level is at a 99%, meaning that our solar radiation levels can climb into severe storm levels if anything else is produced from this region. remember, it is Earth facing. There is a direct tether into our planet right now. X-class flare percentage from here is also at a 25% to have more, and we have a lot of time with this region still as it heads towards the western limb of the sun. And we also want to look at 3849. This is another newer region that is growing in size. It is in beta, delta, and gamma configuration just as well, with a 5% chance of having an X-class flare from here in the next coming of days. This one will be Earth facing. And this is region 3842. It produced 3 X-class flares as it was on the sun. As you can see, it is heading off of the western limb. So if there is a CME that is associated with this latest X-class flare, they probably will not have a great probability of it hitting Earth. However, as you can see, that proton level is at a 15%. Regardless if it has an Earth-directed component with the plasma, the proton levels will reach us and have already reached us, slipping us into those higher solar radiation storm levels. Also, another 15% added to the X-class flare probability. Yet again, which we have had several X-class flares from here, actually making it a total of 4. This is not updated. This region gave us the largest X-class flare of solar cycle 25, and as it heads off of the western limb of the sun, it is exploding, telling us goodbye. We'll see you next time around the next rotation. Those squiggly white lines that you see are filaments. The dark areas are coronal holes, meaning that if a filament or a coronal mass ejection from an X-flare, an M-flare, whatever it may be, if it is tethered to Earth with a coronal hole, it has a high trajectory of hitting Earth. We are seeing a number of these polarities from the coronal hole intercepting these filaments. We are going to have an impact from several of these. Here are those filaments that are erupting from the sun. We will have an effect from these large amounts of plasma starting tomorrow. This will increase in strength as that X1.8 solar flare pushes it, increasing the velocity and the density as it hits our atmosphere. But wait, there's more. The comet Atlas is passing right in front of the sun. Now, these high energy particles from ancient star systems are attached to this comet. They will be flooding Earth as the Quadruple X flare event pushes them into Earth's atmosphere through the polar vortex regions. These ultraviolet gamma radiation levels are impacting Earth's toroidal field. This is weakening and breaking that etheric field open, letting all of the energy that is outside of our bubble come in. Whoa, who's feeling the energy? This is draining energy. This is like hyper-vigilant energy. This is too much energy. I don't know if you're wide awake, but I'm wide awake, but I'm exhausted. And I cried a whole bunch this whole fucking week. Makes sense because Jupiter is retrograde. Actually, it's retrograde in Gemini right now, and our moon is shifting from Sagittarius into Capricorn. This means it's going to slow our pace. Despite all the energy that's coming in, it's kind of going to quicken time. There is a heightened awareness of our responsibilities today. It is going to introduce a realistic, slightly pessimistic outlook. Jupiter is going to reflect on plans, knowledge, perspectives. This is going to alter your physical realm perception. And the moon in Capricorn is going to reveal new long-term goals. Wow, a lot of energy. Let me know in the comments how you're feeling. The comet energy is coming in, geomagnetic storm, solar radiation. Love ya.